Welcome to Next Level eCommerce, the webinar series where top e-commerce experts share their advanced tips and tricks.
Yes, welcome back, everyone. Hopefully, you have already been to a Next Level e-commerce session before. If not, don't worry, I'll explain a bit more about it in a bit. But at least we are very excited to have the first NLA Next Level e-commerce session of 2026. We have been waiting for it for a long time, to be exact, of course, 22 days, because that's how long we're in this year right now. And of course, in the back, we have been working quite hard to actually make sure that this year will even be better than last year. And I think we had really great webinars already last year. So check that out as well. And we will announce somewhere soon some new top experts that will actually join us this year. And we did quite some effort already to make this a great success this year. So let us know what you want to hear, but also what experts you actually would like to see. Because then with that, we can also see if we can take them on the journey in Next Level e-commerce as well. So who are we and what are we here? Jochem and me are the host. My name is Jules. And actually, we have started this because we saw a lot of great things happening and a lot of people actually dominating e-commerce and seeing on how they actually practically could get their performance to the next step. And we thought, hey, why not create the stage to actually let the expert talk here and give you practical tips that you can actually use right away after the webinar to improve your success within e-commerce. And with that, we would also like to know which trend do you think will dominate PPC in the near future. So you have a few options here. Let us know, because also with that, we can see who can we invite on this topic to help you out here. And besides that, we do have some house rules, basically because we have Bianca here. She put a lot of time and effort into creating something very, very nice. But it is kind of rude if you are here but not here. So on the way, answering your emails, your chats, I know everyone is busy, but you will get more value if you listen into and participate as well. We have questions tab, so for sure people will start asking questions in the chat. So help us out by mentioning, hey, we have a questions tab. And in the questions tab, you can basically upvote. So if you have a good question, it probably will get upvoted, which means we can ask it in the end at Bianca. Probably we won't have the time to answer them all, but Bianca is so kind to actually answer them all. And of course, we will combine them if it's the same topics and also send it in the follow-up. So I would say that's great. And also, we are mindful of time, but if we have to extend, we extend a bit, because we rather have a great session than rushing through it. But feel free to leave if you don't have time anymore, because we will record it and you will get it afterwards as well. As said, we had a great session already last year and actually the year before as well. And the great thing is we have everything on demand. So from advanced search to performance max bucketing to actually AI and scripts, for example, with Mike Rhodes or Bob Meyer from PPC Mastery or Ruben Ronneboom. And we actually have it all on the website, which you can already check out. And I would say most of the things they shared they were doing are now still advanced. So take your advantage of it to be ahead of your competition. And this one was actually great. And one of the comments we have got last time was, my brain hurts. This is so interesting. So definitely check this one out because Niels Roymans actually shared quite a bit on why standard shopping for him is the new go-to. I would say it's a bold statement, but check it out. And he really had some great tips on free scripts that he is using and that you can actually start using yourself as well. For example, about conversion tracking. So check it out. Let us know who you actually want to have in one of the next sessions, and we'll make sure to see if we can include them and get you the best value in here. But today we have a very special guest, which Jochem will introduce for us. And normally we always focus on Google. But we have also got quite some questions about, hey, how do you actually do bucketing, but then on other platforms, and mainly Meta. And here with us, we have one of the experts in the field. Jochem, you can start your introduction.
Yes, indeed. After 11 sessions about Google Ads and specific tips to optimize your feed and your advertising, we now wanted to move into the, I would say, the second biggest channel for e-commerce, at least if you look at our clients. And for that, we found one of the best experts, at least from the Netherlands. I don't know many Meta advertisers outside the Netherlands still, but at least, Bianca is a very well-known specialist here. She is leading a social team at a Dutch agency in Rotterdam, Maatwerk Online, it's called. And she's also recently started as a co-founder of the Paid Social Club. I think one of the few communities for social marketeers specialized on Meta. And maybe it's also a good question to you, Bianca. Why did you start that initiative?
Yes, thank you. We started the initiative last year. I'm working in the field for quite a while already, and I'm joined Maatwerk Online around 8 years ago. For Google specialists and search marketers, there are so many ways to keep up with all of the new features and introductions and things like that, to keep updated and track all new things. But for social, it's different. And the social area and the social landscape is so big. We have multiple platforms. Each platform works differently and is used for different ways. And there is not actually a way or a place where, as social marketer, you can interact with others, spar with other specialists that have also quite some experience. You can go to conferences, but also on conference level, there are no many conferences focused on paid social in Europe. So you have to go way beyond to get that done. So we felt like we should create a place where advanced social marketers who already have some experience want to dive deeper and learn new things, but also connect with other marketers in the same field. And that's actually why we started the Paid Social Club. Started with the community, and now we also have our first course ready for Meta Marketing API, where that is consisting of 11 modules focusing on different subjects around the API that a lot of marketers are more than happy to use.
That sounds really nice. I know there are lots of communities around Google, so it's really cool that you started this for creative and social. Also, when you talk about Meta and social advertising, you usually think about creative, but I think it's nice about this session that you really go into like feed optimizations. So, so I have to click somewhere. I would say let's dive into the topic of today, turning social performance into smart feeds. And with that, I'll give the mic to you again, Bianca.
Thank you very much. And first, I want to start with a little poll because I'm very curious to know if you know how many times a specific product is served in a DPA. If you're running ads on Meta and working with catalog campaigns, a feed is something that you're using, obviously. But instead, and compared to Google Ads, we are not bidding on specific products. But there could be a big difference in how different products are performing and leading to the results of our campaigns. And we as marketers, and especially if you're a performance marketer, you'd like to know what is working and what's not. So that's also what we're going to talk about today, is how to get this kind of information and how you can improve the campaigns that you're running by creating buckets, or maybe keep up working the flow with based on impressions, clicks, or maybe even reach. Or if you're working with conversions, then you can literally make it just performance-based as you'd like. I'm not sure if you already have a few results in how many people know if they...
We have. Yeah, about 70% says that some products are prioritized by Meta. 16% I can choose exactly which products are served, and 13% all products are served equally.
Interesting. I'd wish that products were served equally. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So let's dive into what we're going to discuss. And that's actually the black box problem. Because we are working with Meta Technologies, and we are uploading a feed, creating a catalog, and obviously we can create product sets. And while creating product sets, we have some control in order to what kind of products are visible in a campaign. We can exclude products, we can create groups, but then still, for the specific product set, it's really hard if you're managing big catalogs to know what kind of products are working and which are not. When you're just relying on the user interface, recently we have been updated with product level insights, but it's not really product level insights because we can just see a few details of how our products are performing. If you're just relying on the user interface, it's going to be a big and huge job to get the data you'd like to see as a performance marketer. Right now, you're able to see the spend per product and some of the impressions, but I'm not able to see any conversion data. I cannot see how much reach a certain product had. So if I'm just focusing on the user interface, I'm quite limited in what I can do. Most of the important columns remain empty. We can create some custom columns, but still they will only be filled with the data that's actually there. And it's not that Meta does not track the data. It's not that it doesn't exist, because it's there, but it's just not visualized to us. And knowing that there's much more data into Meta's ecosystem than we are able to see is something that I was like, I need to do something with that. If you're using Meta's marketing API, you will be able to get all of the data that exists within Meta, which makes it quite interesting to focus on what is actually helpful for me and the goals that I have for a certain campaign. Some few reasons why you should focus on using the API. Because the user interface is limited. And the more you start working with Meta's API, you will also see what kind of data you have been missing, focusing just on only the interface. You're working with the reports that Meta is showing you, and obviously you can create custom reports for yourself, but still only with the data that Meta provides. Secondly, missed data is, in my opinion, also missed opportunities, because if you're having a blind spot, that's something that could be pretty dangerous if you're asking me. And last but not least, if you're able to unlock insights that you haven't had before, you're also in a way that you have that you've been able to create automations. And with automations, you can save time, but also work a bit smarter. You can create custom breakdowns that are not able in the user interface. So you're actually leveling up your way of work and the possibilities that you have. And that's what started for me a while ago, where I was like, this is something that could be much bigger than I was just only thinking at that time. And I'm definitely not a developer. I'm not that tech savvy, but it's also pretty friendly, usable for a social marketer who is just working in the interface and knows how to work with spreadsheets. Also curious, is someone already working with the Meta Marketing API? There are a few ways to work with the API. Some marketers that I've spoken with thought it was pretty complex, but already if you're working with a tool that integrates with Meta, you're already using the API. Just according to an integration and not directly building your own systems. I see the vote for myself, or I see the poll too, and I'm voting yes, of course. Do we know already how many people are using it already?
Yeah, 75% mentioned they were not using it, but now it drops a little bit after you said that it's different if you already use an integration partner.
Perfect. But then I also know that a lot of people are not using Meta's API directly, and that's exactly where this session is about. So I'm really happy to hear that. So what is actually API? Meta exists of a lot of different tools. It has Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp. It's a pretty big ecosystem already if you're talking about paid social. And the Graph API is actually the primary way for those different apps to read and write alongside all of the apps that are available within Meta. And beside this overview, Meta also offers a lot of different APIs, such as Marketing API, Messenger API, Events API, like a lot of different things, which we call extensions. And I will not go way too deep in that part, because we will mainly focus on the Meta Marketing API for this session. To give you a better understanding of how that works, for marketers like us, the Marketing API is most relevant for us and also for partners of Meta like Channable and other toolings. The Meta Marketing API is actually a subset of the Graph API that interacts with Meta advertising technologies and other apps. Moreover, it functions in somehow the same way as the rest of the Graph API, but it has its own visioning, rate limits, and permissions. That's something that we obviously show you a bit later on. Most commonly used APIs for marketing are insights, conversions, audiences, ads, and reach and frequency. And by just naming those last few, I think some bells are already ringing, like Insights API to gather data and reporting data, audiences, conversion API. We already know those. Those aren't new. And working with the Ads API enables us just to create new ads, build campaigns, and optimize our running campaigns that we have in the moment. But instead of doing those changes within Ads Manager, we are communicating with the Meta ecosystem just through the API. And that could be an integrated tool, but it could also be a spreadsheet or a script that is communicating with the system. So the APIs actually give us access to the Meta technologies. And for us, it allows us to interact directly with the ecosystem, which enables us automation, like tasks that we need to do manually several times, like reporting. We can create that into repeatable automated workflows. If you want to have a daily report, you could write a script that gathers the data from the Meta Marketing API, extract it from your account, and send it through your email every day or every week, whatever you'd like. But you could also pause ads that aren't working based on their performance, but you could also upload new ads automatically. The second one is you're able to scale by applying performance logic across thousands of products at once, if we're talking about e-com. But it's also for a few of my clients that run a lot of different campaigns and a lot of different ads, maybe because they have multiple localized businesses. It takes me so much time if I need to upload all of those ads manually. I put it all in a spreadsheet. Like, I'm not sure if there are already also Google Ads specialists that remember how to build search ads years ago from a spreadsheet. We can do the same thing for Meta ads, but a lot of people do not know that. If you have your campaign settings and you create a spreadsheet where you put in the new ads, the text, and a link to Google Drive where your creatives are, you're able to upload that automatically. So your campaign is refreshed and has new assets within just a few seconds instead of hours of builds. And last but not least, we are able to integrate a Meta Marketing API with external data sources and systems, like some toolings such as Channable, but also if you're working on unified tools to manage your inbox from certain social channels, that's an integration as well. So there are so many ways to use the Meta Marketing API, from integrations with tools, but also from integrations with your own systems that you're building, like spreadsheets or scripts that I already mentioned. So that's a little bit of context of the Meta Marketing API. I think a lot of heads are now buzzing like, okay, that sounds super complex. How could I use that today or tomorrow? I'm going to show you a few ways to do that in terms of product bucketing, and we're going to make it literally practical so you're actually able to do this right away. One of my clients is an e-commerce business, and they have around more than 20,000 SKUs in their catalog. And they have a lot of different categories and also subcategories. And all of the products have different margins and familiarity. When we started with this account, and that was 6-7 years ago, I was pretty overwhelmed. I was creating different product sets based on categories, animal type, like everything that I could think of. But I ended up with so many different product sets that I didn't even know where to get started. I was just like, okay, but now I have so many different product sets. How do I know which one is actually working? I do not have that much budget that I can test it all out. So I need to make any decisions, and I need to make choices to get started for this client. We just started with one of the best categories that the client was telling us, this is my main focus for now. But we learned that all of the products have different margins. Some of them have a higher return rate, and some of them are in a promotion or on sale, and then they run much harder than others. Sometimes promotions are funded by the brands themselves, and then we have a negative ROAS that we're getting back. So that's also something that we learned, like, okay, this way is not most ideal. We need to find something that works better, learning which products are actually working. And if you're talking about Google Ads again, in terms of shopping campaigns, we are quite familiar with the bucketing system, where you create different buckets based on product performance, and products are put in those buckets automatically based on what they've been sold or what kind of requirements you're setting on Channable or in your own product feed. And a while ago, I was thinking, can we create that strategy as well for social? And obviously, we can. If you're working with Meta's API, you're able to create API calls. And in this slide, we see the Graph API Explorer, which is a tool within Meta's developers portal, where you can just play around with the Meta Marketing API, run some calls and see what kind of data there's behind the system. And I learned that the algorithm is pretty efficient, but it's also pretty lazy. It actually plays on the safe bet, and it stops exploring for the rest of your catalog if a few products are doing well. So while I was running through the data on product level, I learned that some of the products have higher impressions, lower CTR. Other products have almost no impressions, but a better CTR, or actually no clicks. And I couldn't figure out why. And in this case, the type of products were not that different. The product images weren't that much different. So I tried to find an explanation for how does the algorithm handles this? How does it decide what kind of product gets the impressions and the spend, and what makes the decision that a certain product isn't getting anything? And when I was playing around with this, I was able to extract this data on a frequent way on a daily basis into a Google Sheet. And I was just managing that for quite a while, and I understand that I was able to control this a bit more than I thought I was. Because if you have the data in a product in a Google Sheet, and you have the product ID that matches the product ID that I have in Channable to create a feed that I build my catalog with, I can also add some extra columns in order to create certain product buckets. And that's where my journey with this story started. I really believe that compared to Google Ads, where you have a shopping campaign that's triggered as soon as someone is searching, social media is a way to push new and unknown products to our target audience to learn and to inspire. So I do not only want to focus on products that people are searching for. I also want to use it to gather some traction to inspire people and make them aware of some new products that might be relevant for them. So creating buckets only before performance-based was not what I was looking for. So I just started around playing. How can we create a structure and a strategy that works? Maybe a lot of you already know the hero, villain, zombie strategy from Google Ads, or stars, invisibles, and potentials. And I was pretty surprised that it took me a while to come up with the idea to just copy the strategy from Google Ads that I was doing as well to paid social, but also not that much. But it also surprised me that a lot of social marketers are not doing or not working with product buckets for their catalog campaigns, even though for e-commerce businesses, this is really something important. And you can make so much difference in your performance and strategy if you're thinking in buckets and see if you can find a way to improve your campaign performance. So if you want to get started with this, we need to build a performance report with breakdown on SKU level. Then we need to analyze the reports and come up with a business logic to create those buckets, because we can create buckets based on performance, based on sales, or based on revenue, based on ROAS or POAS or whatever you'd like. But it's really business related, what actually works and what is important. Like I just mentioned a few slides ago, I also believe that social is a channel where you can inspire people with products they don't know that they're available. And maybe this is just a way to increase search volume later on in the customer journey. If you have created that business logic for your case, then you're able to use those buckets to create dynamic product sets, because we're not going to do that manually, obviously. And then it's important to test and learn from what we've just done and define the strategy and setup even further. And then if you're happy with how it works and how it looks like, then we should automate the whole part, so you do not have to think of it or do anything manually ever again for this certain thing. And I'm going to walk you through it. What are a few things that we need? A business manager, an ad account, and a catalog. And it's really important that if you want to start working with this, you should check if your pixel is connected to your catalog and the events are measured properly. Because a few things that I found out, that if a pixel is not connected to a catalog, then product level insights is not gathered that good by Meta. And then you will just have a few lines that are empty in the output in the reports that you're trying to fetch. So make sure that the pixel is connected to the catalog and that product level information like product ID and content views are measured properly. Then we need access to the marketing API. And that's easily done by, with any business manager, you can create an app in the developer's portal. And that's actually what you have to do. That's not even 5 minutes of work. And then while creating the app, make sure that we create a system user with permissions, ads read, ads management, and catalog management in order to get data, but also to write data to make changes. How we're going to do this is something that I will show you in the next couple of slides. So as you can see, it's not much that you need. And again, you do not need to be a developer. You do not need to do any complex things, because I don't look like a developer too. Let's get on to it. First of all, we're going to create the app. And to create the app, you go to your business manager settings. And on the left side, below accounts, we have the section apps. We just click on app and then on the blue button to create a new one. And we're just following the steps, creating a name, and it's not getting harder than that. Then we are automatically redirected to the Meta developer's dashboard. And that looks like this. On the left side, after we've put in our email and contact details for the app itself, On the left side, we click on products, and there we have the ability to add all of the apps and extensions that I've mentioned earlier in this session. But for now, we only need the Meta Marketing API. You click on Add Product, search for Marketing API, and you've selected it, and that's just all you need to do. Then make sure that on the upper right hand, the app mode is put into live, and that's just only clicking on a toggle. So harder than that, it's not going to get. Important, have the IDs ready for your ad account, because that's something that you'll be using a lot of times. And if you want to extract data on campaign, ad set, or ad level, make sure to have those IDs as well. You can also have an extra tab open with your ad account, so you can search it up, but make sure that you have them. If you've done that, then we're going to continue to the Graph API Explorer. And in this part, it's a bit bigger, so it's a bit easier to read. And the Graph API Explorer is actually, my playground is how I call it, where I can play with API calls to see what kind of data can I get, what kind of combinations with breakdowns can I create. It's actually totally free for you to run. You cannot break anything, so that's nice to know as well. You can just play around and see what's working, what is the output you're getting, and is it helpful? Do you want to make any changes to that before creating an automated workflow? Below, just make sure that we have the permissions to read ads management and catalog management, so we are able to access the data. For a user or page, we click on the user token or system token. If you're using a user token, it's connected to a person. And if the person logs out on Meta, the automated workflows are stopping as well. So that's why we always use a system user to make sure that that system user is working 24/7 with the automations. It's just living in it. You do not need to refresh that user token for a system user. So that's most reliable if you're building any automations. If you just want to play around, a user token does the trick for now as well. The app, but that's already selected if you're joining this screen. And then we're going to generate that extra token. We can just click on the blue button, and then a pretty long string with parameters will show up. And that you do not have to do anything with that, but it's just there. Otherwise, you cannot create any API calls. In the upper head of the screen is a white bar, a field, which you can fill in with a lot of fields. Metrics, breakdowns. Like, this is actually the place where you're requesting the information that you want to see. In this case, it's behind the tree, but it's get, or it's supposed to place any data in Meta. But now we just want to get information out of the system. The rest of this part is something that you do not need to change. But then in the field, we have to change a lot of things if we want to create an API call. In this case, if we want to do something from the ad account, we need the ad account ID, followed by insights, because we want to get information and reporting data, which we use the insights endpoint for. And then with a question mark, we extract the fields that we want to see. For example, product ID, impressions, clicks, spends, conversion, CTR, ROAS. There's a lot of information. Then we can create on what kind of level we want to get the data off. Is it on ad level, ad set level, campaign level? And we can add multiple breakdowns if we want to see, for example, product ID, but also device or placement. And we end the string with the time range we want to see the data of. I already hear some people mentioning, but how do I know what kind of fields I can request? You do not need to know that by mind. You can just start with a few fields filling in, and then if you click on submit, On the left side of the screen, also a lot of metrics will show up where you can easily select, and then they will be added to your string as well. In the developers portal, there is a lot of documentation already that shows the number of metrics and the certain combinations you can try. You can also chat with ChatGPT or Gemini to create some API calls for you. And if you're using in Google Sheets a connector, then it's already a template that you can easily select what kind of information you'd get. So it might seem a bit more complex than it actually is. But yeah, don't let it hold you back by trying out playing with the API. Diving in for this specific API call, I'm extracting fields like products information, impressions, click, spend, on product ID, and a certain time range that I want to get data of. When I click on submit, this is something that I get back from the API. That's what we call JSON response. And with a JSON response, you can do a few things. The first one, if you're getting a response, then you know your API call is correct and does not exist any errors. And you can see if the data is measured properly, if the data is relevant, if it's something that you can use, or that you want that you're still missing certain information you'd like to get. So if you're having this output, then just see what kind of information do you want to use, refine it a bit, and then go for the next part for reporting purposes, or maybe a whole automated workflow. The interesting thing is that the Meta Marketing API is connectable to so many tools. And the most easy way to get started with this is Google Sheets. You can use the app's script, but you do need to write a script for that, or write it by AI. But you can also use the API connector. And if you're using the API connector, you actually see a total template. You select the Facebook Marketing API, and then you can just select, you need to authorize your account, and then you can select different fields, metrics, and breakdowns you want to get. So that's pretty easy to just get started with playing around with the API. How this looks like is actually this. You're already getting the output in a spreadsheet with all of the columns and product information in this report. You can reformat some of the columns if you'd like to do that. You're also able to create an extra tab in this worksheet where you can do some analysis, like creating graphs based on the information from this tab. But you could also use some formulas to define which kind of products are your heroes or your stars, or might deserve some extra attention. And when I go through those spreadsheets, that I'm just thinking of the business logic that I want to apply to the information that I'm getting out of the system. If you're a bit more advanced and working with BigQuery, then you can also import the data there and combine it with backend data, for example, and then use that for creating your buckets or applying your business logic to the information of the products that you have. The next step is importing the sheet to Channable. If you want to use the data to create different product sets, we need to have the data in the catalog as well. Now we just have a separate spreadsheet, and the rest of the information from the backend is sent to Channable. And in Channable, we have created the field or the feed for our catalog. If you have your Channable account, just go to Setup and add an extra import, in this case, a Google Sheet, where the existing products are. But just make sure that the product IDs are matching with product IDs that you have within Channable. So it actually extends the data that you already have there and is not creating new products that you're not using anywhere. Then, if you have the information applied to Channable, there are a few ways or a few things that you can do. If you want to use data from BigQuery, for instance, you might be able to apply your business rulings there. If you want to combine performance data from the backend, that's not something that you get out of the marketing API. So depending on what kind of rulings you want to get or what kind of buckets you want to create, make sure where you're going to create your labels, or actually your buckets. As I just mentioned, you're able to create labels with formulas in Google Sheets. So you already have that applied right there. But you could also just import the data from Meta into Channable by importing that spreadsheet and then using the data from the spreadsheet to create rules that defines what product is belong to what kind of bucket. Within Channable, we do have the Insights app, which is showing data from Google Ads. But with this strategy, you're also able to create certain buckets based on metadata. But you just need to do that by yourself in the rulings. In this case, you can work with stars, potentials, underperformance, and invisibles, just depending on what's most reliable and helpful for your business. In our case, for this client, we have also the ROAS on product level added into Channable, the margin, return rate, review score, and the views on the landing page as well. So we have a subset of a lot of different rules that applies where a certain product belongs. We created this in a master set, and we are just applying this over different channels that we are using within Channable. And then the performance of a product is is telling us in what kind of bucket it belongs. And because the sheet that we are using is updated automatically, products are also shifting automatically between those buckets. And I do not have to do anything manual again to make sure that we are showing the right products in the product sets. So that saves us a lot of time. But we do still need to create those product sets if we have the data available in Channable. And if you've created your business rules and your rules within Channable to define those buckets, then within the meta feed that fills up our catalog, we need to create those product sets. And you just need to make sure that you map your buckets as custom numbers or custom labels in the feed, because those are attributes that you can choose within the Meta Catalog Manager to define your product sets. So for instance, if my stars, I'll make sure that the label stars is mapped to custom number 1. And then I can create a product set based on custom label, custom number 1 with the condition if it exists, and then the name that I've given it in Channable, just to make sure that only the right products are served within this bucket. I only have to do that once, and then all those product sets are dynamically. So is that everything? Definitely not. Within a Meta Marketing API, you're able to do a lot of different things that are able in the Meta ecosystem. Besides getting product information, you're also able to automate reporting, import bulk campaigns or bulk changes, like everything that you can do manually could also be done with the API. So you can just think when you're working and doing a lot of things, is it something that I need to do manually, or is there a way to automate this? Most of the time, the answer will be it's automatable. You can manage or update campaigns. If you're working with something like BigQuery, you could also build a self-learning system. You could also run and analyze A/B tests, and there are so many more to do with the Meta Marketing API. So this is just a little part that I'm more than happy to show and been sharing with a lot of people already. But there's so much more. And I'm curious, if you've seen this, is this something that you're like, okay, this must be more easier than I was thinking before. I am going to test this bucketing strategy or on paid social. Really curious to see what the answers will be.
79% says yes.
Nice. And it's not only available for certain products, obviously. By automating those kind of buckets, you could also automate your reporting for creative insights. And that's something that I'm working on at this point. We work with naming conventions on our ads to learn what kind of combinations and what actually is working within the ad. And I'm going to share that later on, but not in, in this session. I'm just really excited of everything that we can do in this way. That was actually my presentation for now. I really hope that I've inspired a lot of you to get started and play around with the Meta Marketing API. And if you'd like, and if you think there's so much more to learn, and let's get started. I've already mentioned within the Paid Social Club, this is also something that we've been sharing a lot. And if you'd like, we have a little offer for everyone who's here or registered to the webinar to get started and play around. So keep your inbox by hand, and I really hope to see you there and have inspired a lot of you.
All right, thanks a lot, Bianca. Thanks for all the practical tips, and we would definitely advise people indeed to have a look. So it will also be in the follow-up, so you can actually have a look there. And yeah, especially if you want to learn more about it, that's where it will be shared, and probably more extensive even than here. So that's great. And I think, yeah, this session, to be really honest, like, is really the thing that was happening in Google for a very long time as well, right? Everyone doing the black box. And I would say, like, a lot of people are actually doing the same thing with social. So now is the time to change. And especially if you see on how easily you can actually do it, you just have to start doing it. And I think you actually really well positioned that and showed us, like, practically on how you can do it. So I don't think there's anyone here that isn't able to do it, because even to me it sounded and it's very easy to start working on it. So that's great. All right, we also got some nice questions in, and those are for Jochem. As we did go a bit over time already, I think it would be good to just do a few questions, Jochem, and then we'll send the rest in the follow-up. But yeah, take the stage.
Yes, will do. There are not that many questions, so please, you can still ask them. I think even if it's not totally about this topic, but other meta-related topics. First one is actually, I think, a question for me. When will Channable launch a direct integration with Meta in Insights? At the moment, there is only a direct integration with Bol and Google Ads. Good question. We are really serious about, like, moving more into social channels with Meta, of course, is the biggest player. So we recently added a Meta team to Channable's product team and development team. And we're currently working on a roadmap for what we want to work on. And adding more data to insights is definitely one of the topics that we could explore. So yeah, definitely upvote if you're interested. Then the second question from Julia. What would be a realistic timeline to get this to work on a basic level with no prior knowledge?
Actually, pretty quick. If you're setting up your Meta developer app, there are a few API calls that I've already shared on LinkedIn a while ago. So those are just easy to copy and paste. And the only thing that you need to change is your ad account ID or putting in your ad ID to make sure that you're getting the data on that level. So if you do it easily, you could have something set up within an hour easily.
Nice. That's quick. It looks indeed quite complex, but I guess if you just follow the steps that you just showed, then it should be all right.
Yeah, I remember that calling Meta Marketing API is something that also scares a lot of marketers. But like I already mentioned by the first poll, if you're working with a tool that integrates with Meta in some way, that's an API connection as well. So it really sounds complex, but it's actually a different way of extracting the data from the system that's already there. and that you have to do a true developers portal where you can do a lot of difficult things with all of the technical apps they have. That's a whole other level. But within the Meta Marketing API, it's built for marketers like us.
Nice. And can you say something about the results you are seeing with this strategy?
Yeah, for sure. For several clients that we've run experiments with this, we saw a big increase in visibility because we were only visible with a small part of the catalog. And even if a client has only 15 products, a lot of products weren't even shown because the algorithm was just focusing on 2 or 3 of them. So we've seen big increase in impressions and also in CTR because we could easily manually define what kind of products are being showed in this product set, yes or no. And also for the client with a lot of products, with the 20K, we noticed that products that were new with no data were also not shown at all. So we created the different product sets where only the new products were put in to gather some data. And when they got some data, then they were able to grow and scale and fall in one of the buckets, like the performance buckets that we call them. So those are a few things that we've already done for our clients to increase the scope of visibility.
Nice. Sounds good. Are there also clients that see don't see any results after this? After you implemented this?
Depending on what you're looking for, if it's direct sales or increase in traffic. I think for one of the clients, the results in terms of sales were not that big, but we're more likely laying on the upper funnel part of the campaign.
Clear. Thanks.
All right. Nice. I think we therewith answered, I think, almost all the questions, right, Jochem?
Yeah, at least the ones that were upvoted. Maybe one was about like, are we getting a recording? Yes, you will. But we will send the recording on Monday morning. And I think we're also checking some of the questions still with Bianca and including them into the email.
Yeah, indeed. And probably if you have any more questions, just let us know, of course, and we can always see what we can do. If you want more of this or any other topics you would like to see, help us out. Because in the end, we are inviting the speakers for you. So for you, it should be interesting and should provide the value. So therefore, we will announce actually some great speakers anytime soon to show you also what we're working on. So let us know because we can help out. And today, this was it. So thank you and great applause for Bianca because she did a great job today. And the recording will be available, the slides as well. So yeah, try your own thing to see on how you actually can make an impact on the socials. And yeah, we see you next time. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for joining Next Level eCommerce. If you want to see more, check out our YouTube or give us a follow on LinkedIn to get more e-commerce tips and tricks. See you at the next one.